Hey guys, you're watching Car Topic, and today we're going to be talking about the other beginner's supercar, the Ferrari 360. This video is kind of a continuation of a video I made a few weeks ago on the Audi R8, so if you didn't see that video, go ahead and check that one out first before continuing this one. So anyways, let's get on with the video. One thing you should know about Ferrari is that they like to replace their cars, not refresh them. For example, when a car gets slightly dated, instead of refreshing it with more power or a slightly different design, they just completely get rid of the car and replace it with another car with different names, different everything. So before we talk about the Ferrari 360, let's take a look at the car that it replaced, the Ferrari F355. This car was made from 94 all the way to 99. And it had 375 horsepower coming from a V8 and only weighed over 2,900 pounds. This meant that its 0 to 60 was 4.3 seconds and had a 13.5 second quarter mile. Now, this is a very fast car for the late 90s. But as fun and as fast as this car was, this is the car that gave Ferrari the reputation of being unreliable, as the F355 is the definition of an unreliable car. Let me explain to you why. Every year, you're looking at a minimum of $5,000 purely for maintenance. So if anything goes wrong with the car, that number can easily double or even triple. And for most issues, you have to completely pull out the entire engine from the car, making it a very long, expensive, and painstaking process. But reliability aside, this car is destined to become a classic, as it is the last true Ferrari sports car where you're inches away from the floor and hear every bit of the car from your driving seat. But at the beginning of the 21st century, Ferrari wanted to completely surprise its audience by replacing the F355 altogether with a completely different supercar, the Ferrari 360. The 360 made 400 horsepower coming out of a screamin' V8, and it only weighed just under 3,200 pounds. And while its 0 to 60 of 4.6 seconds was slightly slower than the car that it replaced, the quarter mile, which was 12.4 seconds, was more than a second quicker than the F355. While Ferrari always tries to implement their F1 technology into their cars, the Ferrari 360 was the very first to implement the manual F1 gearbox, in which you would shift through paddle shifters. The Ferrari 360 still came with a gated manual, which by the way is more expensive and more sought after today in the Ferrari 360. But back then when this car was new, a lot of people actually preferred the F1 gearbox. Because who doesn't want to drive a Formula 1 car, right? But whether you got the F1 transmission or not, the Ferrari 360 always came with 400 horsepower. And even though that was slightly less than all of the other supercars at the time, Ferrari's incredible engineering managed to make this car faster than supercars with hundreds of more horsepower. So now that we've established that this is a great supercar, let's take a look at why it should be a beginner's supercar. Other than the fact that a beginner's supercar shouldn't be a headache and it should still be really fun with a lot of power, I believe the main thing that makes a beginner supercar a beginner's supercar is the cost. So let's take a look at the Ferrari 360's cost today on the used market. Without even having to search too hard, I found 3 very clean examples of the Ferrari 360 with considerably low miles and under $70,000. Now, I never thought that I could get a car with this much street presence for this low cost. And if you believe that you can also find another supercar with this low cost and this much street presence, Let's take a look at the next cheapest supercar with similar performance, the Lamborghini Gallardo. The cheapest examples of a Gallardo that I could find were well over $70,000, and they came in an automatic with a very high miles. And most of these cars are heavily modified, and they're going to cost you quite a bit more in repairs. The only other supercar that comes close and is actually probably cheaper in most situations is the Audi R8, but I already made a video on that, and it doesn't really have as much street presence as the Ferrari 360. So anyways, that's it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed, and I really hope you learned a few things about the other beginner supercar for you. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And more specifically, please let me know down in the comments what you think of this video, and if you have any other ideas for future videos. I'll be sure to make it happen to the best of my ability. Now, in the past video, one of you guys recommended that I make my video slightly longer, so I'm implementing that in today's video. As you can see, it's almost 7 minutes long. So please let me know if you still enjoy that format, or if I should go back to around 5 minutes. But other than that, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you guys next time on Car Topic.